and welcome back to another episode from the Safe to Feel podcast. I hope everyone who is tuning in is doing well. I am currently outside this time in nature, laying down, taking a bit of a brain break. I've been studying so much recently. I'm just like, too much information, too much staring at screens. So here I am, outside. And I thought today I would talk about anxiety because I've recently been experiencing more anxiety than usual, than like a normal amount. I think it's normal to have anxious moments for short periods of times for certain reasons, but recently I've just been having some more anxieties than normal. And with that being said, I think it's important. First step is to try and recognize why you are anxious, which I think in hindsight I'm pretty aware of. If I'm like looking back on those moments, it makes sense why I was anxious, the energy that was involved in the situation. So I think that can be helpful sometimes, even if you're able to like first identify why you're anxious. And if it's something about the future or something you don't have control over, I think sometimes it's easy as being like releasing it with breath and just saying that's not for me to worry about or whatever, but for me, at least in these cases, that doesn't work. And it persists, and even after I've identified like everything's okay or whatever, I still feel it deeply in me. And we all know anxiety is a super uncomfy feeling. So yes, I've been sitting through the anxiety, but I've also been incorporating some awesome tools and skills to lessen the anxiety or ease it altogether. And I just thought I would share some of the things I've been doing. And one of the ways I'm going to mention, actually, just this technique in general, I do it at any time, even if I'm not anxious. This is like, amazing. I love it. It literally is grounding in so many ways, and you can do it any place, anytime. And yeah, so let's get into it. So I've definitely been on a path of like wanting to cope with things healthily, and with my anxiety, one of the ways that, oh my gosh, I wonder if you can hear the sirens behind me. All right, I waited for them to pass by. But yeah, so one of the ways that I like to ease my anxiety or any sort of, this is something I love to do anyway, but drinking tea and drinking herbal tea in specific, and using certain plants, dried herbs, actually I should say, in my tea, ones that are calming. And some examples, classic examples: chamomile, lavender, lemon balm. Those are all really great. Recently I've been drinking soursop leaf, which is also great for stress and sleep. So yeah, just tea. I usually, when I'm anxious, after kind of identifying what's going on, sometimes I can't identify in the moment, and that's okay. So I will usually just make myself a cup of tea and do some breathing. Now, there are two types of breathing that I will do. So one is the box breathing, which is when you want to be sitting up straight, hands on your thighs or knees, and you breathe in for 4, hold for 4, exhale for 4, hold for 4. So it's like 4 seconds each. And this can be great, but sometimes, like in the moment, my anxiety will be eased, but after I'm done breathing, it will just return. So this next exercise has been so amazing. And like I said, it's the one I mentioned before, how I will use this whether I'm anxious or not. It's good for any time, place. It is so good and grounding. I love it. And I think has a name. I can't remember the name for it. Maybe whoever's listening will know. I really can't remember, but it includes 4 mantras. And I guess I'll kind of just explain how it goes. And I'm pretty sure it's called the breath of life, but essentially it's the actual breathing technique part is you inhale for 7 seconds and then you hold at the top for 3. And then after you hold, you do a deep exhale into the heart space and center. But the technique I've been using includes mantras with this breath. And it's been so amazing, and I hope you do try it out, because honestly, like in any moment of like, I don't know, anxiety, or I need courage, I need strength, or I'm uncertain, or I'm unsure, or maybe things are confusing, or I can't tell if things are clear. This will just ground me right into the energy I need to be in. So I think you don't have to do this every time, but to start out, you are going to want to say, I love myself. And when you say, I love myself, notice where in the body you feel it. And just notice it. That's fine, wherever it is. Maybe it's in your lower abdomen. Maybe it's in your stomach, the upper part of your stomach, throat, wherever it may be. Just notice. And you're going to want to do this for all of the 3 other mantras I'm going to say afterwards. But so you just notice where it is. And then what you're going to do is the breath of life breathing. So you're going to do a deep inhale of 7, hold at 3, and then breathe into the heart space. Exhale into the heart space. And while doing that, I will say to myself in my head, I love myself. So I'll like breathe in for 7, saying, I love myself. I'll hold it at the top for 3, and I say, I love myself. And then I exhale the energy and the words, I love myself, into my heart space. And you'll really feel it ground into the heart space. And then I'll do it the same thing with the 3 other mantras. So the second one is, I trust myself. And as I said before, like the first time you do this ever, you just want to notice where you feel it at first, because we're going to move all of it, the energy, into our heart space. So you do the 7-second inhale, I trust myself, hold for 3, I trust myself, exhale, I trust myself, into the heart space. Same thing for the next one, which is I value myself. And for the last one, I honor myself. And so essentially, let's say I'm anxious. I will just take a moment to sit or lay down wherever I am, do my deep inhale, 7 seconds, hold 3 seconds, and exhaling deeply into my heart center using these affirmations. I love myself. I trust myself, I value myself, and I honor myself. And that's it. And I think you'll find that's all you'll need. And it's been amazing. Depending on my anxiety, sometimes it doesn't completely go away. The practice 100% eases it, but it can be there sometimes still. So, I'll drink my tea, I'll do my breathing, and sometimes I just gotta go do something else, like get outside, dance, movement, move the energy in me, go for a run, go for a walk, move that energy in me. And I've also been taking a mushroom tincture, which is a natural way to ease anxiety. I forget the mushroom, to be honest. I would tell you guys, but I'm not home and I don't have it on me. But if you are interested, it is a tincture made by Hamilton's Mushrooms, and you can find it on his website. But yeah, I've just been loving that as well. Also, sometimes it's as simple as going out into nature. I think that can relieve a lot of anxiety as well. Sometimes I'll just go to the river. If I lived near an ocean, I would go to the ocean and just sit there. Sometimes I'll just sit there and meditate or just breathe and just listen to the waves. And just tune in to what's around me, ground myself, and bringing myself back to the present moment, because I think anxiety is created from a lot of thoughts and worries and not having clarity. So kind of just removing myself from that and coming back to a space of groundedness. Sometimes too, like, all I need to do is write or journal, and it can actually ease so much anxiety. Like, I remember one time in specific, I was feeling so anxious and I needed to do a task for someone else, but I really couldn't show up for the other person how I wanted because I was feeling really anxious about something else. And so I was like, I need to do this. I need to resolve this anxiety first before I can show up. So I just remember like sitting there and just writing, almost just free writing anything that I'm feeling, everything that's on my mind, and just fully expressing myself. And by the end of it, I was relieved from that anxiety. So I think writing is also another tool. And there's more sirens. I wonder what's going on. I hope everyone's okay. Oh my goodness. Another thing I will do is take a bath with Epsom salts, or just like create a relaxing environment. Another one just drove by. That makes me quite worried, but I will send my prayers. But yeah, a bath can be really relaxing and soothing. Sometimes I just think it's important to take your mind off of whatever is bothering you, and yeah, just identifying, like, do I have control over this? Okay, no. So why am I worrying about it? Or like, is it happening right now? No. So why am I worrying about it, But it's not always easy, and it's not something we can always just be like, go away. Sometimes it lingers, but I think a combination of all the things I've mentioned have been really what have shifted me forward. And I think finding tools, maybe, I mean, it might not be the ones I mentioned, but finding tools that work for you are so amazing, because then it's just like, it's there, it's in your pocket, you can reach for it if you need it. I remember back wow, like probably 3 or more years ago, I worked at a very stressful job, and I was extremely anxious. The bird. I was extremely anxious every time I went to work, like genuinely every single time. And it was just unhealthy environment, but how did I cope through it? I carried lavender. It was like a lavender spray I made, but I put it on a roll-on container, if you know what I'm saying. And I would just put that lavender on me 24/7. Or constantly at work, I would just be putting the lavender, like going into the back room, putting on lavender, breathing. So I think lavender is great. I just remembered that, like, sometimes I will make little sprays for myself and the people I love. For example, like lavender, and you can just, with the intention to purify and cleanse the space. And lavender actually really eases and soothes anxiety and stress, so I think having a spray can be nice, or just having that aroma around. I think cultivating a very calming space, whether it's in nature, in your home, wherever it may be, the bath, I think it is the key here for easing the anxiety. That and coming back into center, grounding, and being in the present moment. And honestly, yeah, like I mentioned before, writing things down, or sometimes I just thought about this too. If you're out in nature, just walk, or even if you're home, walk and talk out loud to yourself. Maybe it's just a matter of needing to process things, or needing to express whatever is on your mind, on your heart. And I think that can help too, and I think it kind of just sort of depends. But yeah, like I was saying, I think having these tools is great, and learning what tools work best for you are great, because then in the situations we need them, we know what we can do for ourselves. And reflecting back on my past, I used to cope in like other ways with my anxiety, and that's why I really wanted to share some of these ways that I deal with my anxiety now. For anyone who's looking for new tools to cope with their anxiety, or tools in general. In my past, oh my god, my shoulder. I was laying on my shoulder, pretty funny, but in my past, when I was anxious or stressed, I would escape. I think that's the main thing a lot of us humans will do with uncomfortable feelings, because we don't want to feel uncomfortable feelings. It's not pleasant, and it's not an enjoyable experience. And so I think we will, as humans, tend to escape, when really, as I've just talked about, it's important to be present, to be here, to be rooted. Escaping is like a band-aid. It's not healing. It's just putting a band-aid over it. And escaping can show up in so many ways, whether it's through food, eating when you're anxious, eating when you're stressed. It can be effective in the moment. But like, do we really feel better after we've just overeaten, Or smoking, drinking, partying. Like, I think it really comes down to like, why am I drinking? Why am I smoking? In my past, like when I was in high school and I did drink and smoke, in hindsight, reflecting back, I was escaping. I was coping. I wanted to escape my reality. I didn't have the tools. I didn't know how to show up for myself. And it's okay. Like, we're not really taught what tools and what we can do for ourselves to be. I really think it's all about being present with yourself, being there, being in tune with your body and yourself and what's going on within you. And even if those emotions or feelings or thoughts are uncomfortable, being able to sit through them or work with them or be curious about them is really important. There's so many ways to escape. But I think at the end of the day, it's up to you. But for me, I think there was a certain period of time where, and I think this can happen for a few people or many people or some people, I don't know, whoever resonates with this, but after a certain amount of time, I feel like certain habits, they aren't working anymore. Certain coping and ways of escaping or coping, they don't work anymore. They're just not doing the trick, or we just know it isn't good for us. It's not what we want. But what do they say? Bad habits die hard or something. I don't know. It can be hard to let go, but I think after a certain amount of time, we can outgrow these ways of being. And so, only if that resonates. This is, of course, only an offer and an extension of what I've been doing that's been really working and healing for me. I don't think there's anything wrong with different ways of coping because I've been there. I've been in the position before, and it's sometimes out of survival. And like I said, we're not always taught healthy or healthier ways to regulate our nervous system and to manage our emotions and to be in tune with ourselves. So if this is something that resonates, or you're open to it, I hope that maybe you try out some of these techniques and tools I used for anxiety or stress. And if they're not really your thing, I encourage you or hope that only if, of course, you are, outgrowing your coping and patterns now, to explore the ones that do resonate with you and feel good for you. And maybe that's taking a walk, going out in nature without putting your phone down, and just being present here and now. Whatever brings you peace, ease, and presence, being grounded and centered here and now. Until next time.